This is the Akko SPR67. It's the 47th keyboard in my collection, it's part of an experiment to see how many keyboards it takes for my partner to leave me, and in this video I'm going to tell you what makes it top 2, maybe even number 1 in that entire collection. The SPR67 is Akko's most expensive keyboard offering currently, retailing at $200, and it's a proper keyboard kit, not to be confused with a bare bone. A kit comes packaged up in its component parts, leaving you to do the complete build. Don't forget to check out my affiliate links and discount codes in the description, one of which is for the Akko website. The SPR67 is a popular keyboard which is in and out of stock, but put your name on the waiting list and you won't have to wait long. The unboxing of the keyboard kit can be a bit overwhelming if you're new to the hobby, but it's really not as bad as it looks. It's all the usual parts, only with this one having a more novel spring mount system, so you just have a few extra bits and pieces. So I'll run you through the build in the order I did it. You don't have to stick to this order, you just need to assemble the plate and PCB and prepare the case in whatever order seems best to you. Step 1, straight out of the box I installed the 4 rubber feet on the bottom of the case to prevent scratches, then I disassembled the case for later. Step 2, I prepared the plate mount stabilizers which came with the keyboard. I did a holee mod on the spacebar only, as the tolerance between the wire and the stems is actually pretty tight. Then I lubed the stems and housings with Krytox 205 grade 0 and the wires with dielectric grease before assembling them. Step 3, I installed the plate mount stabilizers in the FR4 plate. Step 4, I assembled the plate and PCB assembly. I placed the 0.5 silicone switch pad on the PCB, the 3mm pour-on plate foam on top of that, the FR4 plate on top of that, and then secured it by installing some switches. There are no screws to hold the plate and PCB together, just the switches. Step 5, I installed the rest of my switches. I used the Techno Violets from Tecsee on my build. They are a linear switch with a double stage 58 gram spring, and I've just lubed the stems with Krytox 205 grade 0. Step 6, I tested the stabilizers. You can do this later as they are plate mounted and can be removed at any time without disassembly of the case. Step 7, I installed the 2 screws in the bottom case which guide the plate and PCB assembly through the travel of the spring mount. Step 8, I installed the DAUGHTERBOARD. A DAUGHTERBOARD, as opposed to a soldered USB port, allows for the movement of the spring mount system. Step 9, I installed the MYLAR sheet, which I believe insulates the case from the live parts of the PCB, probably quite important on a keyboard with this much movement in the mount. Step 10, I installed the 170 gram springs in the bottom case, the middle out of the 3 weights on offer. Step 11, I installed the 1mm pour-on case dampening pad. Step 12, I installed the rubber top hats on the springs onto which the plate lands off. Step 13, I plugged the DAUGHTERBOARD into the PCB and landed the plate and PCB assembly in the case on the springs. Take some time here to make sure the top hats are centered in the holes on the plate so as it's evenly supported. Step 14, I installed the 10 silicone strips in the top case. These are there to dampen the top out of the plate in the top case as the spring mount moves up and down. Step 15, I installed the top case and secured it with the screws. Step 16, and the final step, is to install the keycaps. For my build I went with the GMK Gregory base kit with the yellow extension kit to get an all black on yellow set. This is probably my favourite keycap set to date, though I'm sure it's an acquired taste, but I had to get the base kit from Germany and the extension kit from Canada, so the final cost of my build is fairly ridiculous, but the heart wants what it wants, and evidently my heart wants for the missus to leave me. Let's see how it sounds. So let's finish on my thoughts on the keyboard. I would say the main points in terms of the features and specification are that this is a nice aluminium chassis keyboard with a nice clean look. It has that novel spring mount system with 3 different spring weights, which is extremely effective and plush. It comes with an FR4 and polycarbonate plate, both of which have flex cuts, and the FR4 has that ENIG finish. The PCB also has flex cuts and that ENIG finish, which is also a 1.2mm thick PCB compatible with screw-in stabilizers. So if you do buy screw-in stabilizers, make sure you get stabs for 1.2mm PCBs or get some shims. Just watch out for this keyboard and keyboards like this which are cross-compatible with both plate and screw-in stabilizers. The wider stabilizer housings like Stabies come with won't fit through the cutouts in the plate, and you'll need to file the plate to get it to work. It has this lovely solid brass finish external weight on the back which gives it a very high-end feel and look, but do note that this keyboard has no form of lighting or RGB, and it's a wired-only keyboard. All the expense and effort went into the clean aesthetic and the typing feel on this one, and I think it's all the better for it. This is an absolute gem of a keyboard. I would say it's probably the best typing keyboard in my collection, and at $200 you get to experience that high-end goodness of an exclusive group buy keyboard, but without the weight. I highly recommend this one, so much so that if there was another colorway available, I'd probably buy it again. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.